Hey guys, welcome back to a new tutorial. For today's tutorial, we will be making these super cute and adorable mini jellyfish. I can't wait to show you guys how to make them because they're just oh so cute. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. So let's go ahead and get into the materials. I will be using a 3.5mm crochet hook, some scissors, a darning needle, a stitch marker, some black and pink yarn, some stuffing, and two colors of yarn, but this is totally up to you. So we're going to go ahead and start the body with 6 single crochet into a magic ring. And then pull the tail tight to close the circle. And then for round 2, we will be making 6 increased stitches, which is just 2 single crochet into the same stitch for 6 times to have a total of 12 stitches at the end. And then once you're done with that, don't forget to place your stitch marker so that you can keep the correct amount of stitches in the round. You can see here that I did not count my stitches, but you could do that if you wanted to. And then for round 3, we will do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase, which is again 2 single crochet into the same stitch for 6 times to have a total of 18 stitches at the end of the round. Alrighty, and then once you're finished with that round, then we're going to place our stitch marker, and you can also count your stitches if you want to. And then once you're done doing that, then for rounds 4 to 5, we are going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch to have a total of 18 stitches for 2 rounds. And then once I'm done with that, then I'll meet you guys at the end, and then we will move on to round 6. Now I am done with rounds 4 to 5, and I'm so sorry about that long single crochet piece, but hopefully you guys are done. And then don't forget to place your stitch marker, and if you want to be extra sure, then you can count your stitches to see if you have 18. Like I said, it's not required, but you can if you just want to be extra sure. And then as you can see, it's starting to form this jellyfish looking shape. And then for round 6, we are going to single crochet in the back loops only. So as you can see, there are 2 loops, and we are going to be going into the back loop of the stitch. This might take some time to practice, but I'm trying my hardest to show you guys what this will look like. And so you're just going to make a normal single crochet, but it is in the back loop only. So if you turn it to the side, then you can see that there are 2 loops, and it kind of looks like a V, but you can go into the back loop, so there's 2 loops. So once you're done with that round, then I'll meet you at the end and I'll guide you through the next one. Once you guys are done with this, you can see that there's like a line going around it, and that is great. That's what we want. And then don't forget to place your stitch marker. You should have a total of 18 stitches again. And then once you're done with that, then we will move on to round 7. For round 7, we will make 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease, going through both the loops for 6 times to have a total of 12 stitches. And then I'm using an invisible decrease, so I'm going through the front loops only for the next 2 stitches. And then you'll yarn over and then pull up a loop going through those 2 loops, and then you'll have 2 loops on your hook, and then just pull it through the 2 loops to have a single crochet. And then again, you'll make a single crochet and then a decrease stitch. So again, front loops only, pull through just to make an invisible decrease, and then you'll repeat that for 6 times, and then I'll meet you at the end of the round. Once you're done with that, then you should have a total of 12 stitches. Don't forget to place your stitch marker, and then again, you can count your stitches if you want to. And then we will be working on round 8 next. And then for round 8, we will decrease 3. And at the end of the round, once we're fully done, we will have a total of 6 stitches. But for now, just decrease 3 times. And then once you're done with those 3 decreases, we will stuff the jellyfish. So make sure to stuff it all the way, and then you will finish the round afterward. Once you are finished stuffing, we are going to finish round 8. And for the rest of round 8, we are going to make 3 decreases. And then once you're done with making the 3 decreases, we will have a total of 6 stitches, and I will meet you at the end of the round. Good job, everybody. You just finished the body. So we are going to slip stitch and then chain 1. And then make sure you pull the loop nice and big. And then this is what it looks like. You are going to cut and then weave in the ends. Alright, and then to weave in the ends, we are going to be using our yarn needle for this part. So go ahead and thread your yarn needle, and then after you're done with that, then I will help you with the rest. Once you have threaded your needle, we were going to be weaving in the ends through the front loops of the last decrease round that you made. So you're going to put your needle through the front loop only of that next stitch and then pull it tight. And then again, you're going to put it through the front loop only of the next stitch. And then make sure you pull it tight. And you're going to be doing that all around until you get to the end of the round. Once you get to the end of the round, then you're going to pull it tight. So you're basically cinching the hole that was left after you made that decrease round. And then you're going to slip stitch, or not really slip stitch, but pull it through to make a loop, and then stick your needle through that loop that you just made and then pull it tight. This is how you fasten off to make sure that will not come undone again. And then you're going to stick your needle through the thing and just basically stab it through the top. I know it kind of seems brutal, but this is just how you do it. And then you're going to cut it, and then you can kind of squish the body around to hide the tail. And that is the body. For the tentacles, we are going to start by making a slip knot. Once you're done making your slip knot, we are going to go ahead and start on our thick tentacle for first. So just go ahead and pull up a loop, and it's a kind of hard to show you guys where we're going to be working, but we're pretty much going to be working in these loops right here. So as you can see, this is where I'm pulling up my loop. So just go ahead and stick that on your crochet hook and pull up the loop. And then to start for our thick tentacle, we will be chaining 11. Once you guys are done chaining 11, we are going to start on our thick tentacle. So we are going to make a half double crochet increase into every chain. This is kind of a more complex stitch. You might need to look up how to do it, because I've unfortunately not made a tutorial on a half double crochet quite yet, and hopefully I will be soon. So a half double crochet increase is just 2 half double crochet into each chain. We will be doing this 10 times, and then once you guys are done with that, then I will also meet you at the end. Once you are done making your half double crochet increases, you can see it's starting to twirl up, and that is perfectly normal. Now we're going to be slip stitching 2, and like I said before, this is kind of hard to see what stitches you're going to be going into, but I'm trying my hardest to show you what stitches you will be going through. So just slip stitch 2, and then we will be making the medium tentacle. And then once you guys are done with this, you can twirl it up to make it look more twirled. And it might not be perfectly twirled, but it still looks really good once you are filled it out a little bit. And then for the medium tentacle, we are going to start by chaining 11 again. And also for all of the tentacles, so all 3 different types of tentacles, we will be starting by chaining 11 every time. So you just go ahead and chain that up. And then once you're done chaining, we are going to single crochet in each stitch. So this is much easier. The thick tentacle unfortunately might be a little bit difficult for beginners, but the single crochet and the small tentacle will be much easier to do. So just go ahead and single crochet 10, and then I'll meet you once I'm done. And then once you're done with that, we will be slip stitching 2, and we will be slip stitching after every tentacle you make. So just go ahead and make that, and then you can slip stitch 2 in between every tentacle to give some space. And that is the medium tentacle. And then for the small tentacle, we will be starting by chaining 11 again. So just go ahead and chain that up. And then once you're done chaining, we are going to slip stitch 10. So slip stitch into each stitch. This is also much easier. So just go ahead and slip stitch, and then I will meet you at the end. And then once you guys are done with that, we will also be slip stitching 2, and as I said before, we will be slip stitching 2 in between every tentacle. So those are all 3 of the tentacles. I really love them, and actually looks really good if you'll repeat those tentacles again. And once you're done making the tentacles, you have 6 of them in total, or at least that's the tentacle count that I got. So as you can see, now I've done that over again, so thick, medium, and then small, and it looks so good. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And then to finish, we are going to slip stitch and then chain 1, and make sure that you pull that chain 1 big, and then you will fasten off. You're going to pull that tight, and then to finish off, we are going to tie the 2 ends together. You don't have to do this, but I'm doing this just to make sure it's extra secure. And then once you do that, you're going to hide the tail ends inside of the jellyfish body. And guys, this is the way that your jellyfish looks so far. I'm so happy with the way he turned out, and I hope that you guys are as well. I'm just twirling the tentacles up a little bit just to make sure that they look nice and full, and he just looks so amazing, and I can't wait to teach you guys how to make the rest. And then for the last part of really crocheting, I guess, we are going to be making the little ruffles around his body. And so we are going to start with a slip knot. And then you can see these are the back loop only single crochets we made for the round on the body. And we are going to be going into the third one-ish from where they separate. It's really hard to explain, but you're going to just pull up a loop, and this is also where it gets kind of difficult. So you're going to start by chaining 2 and then double crocheting into the same stitch that you just made the chain to. You do that by yarning over and sticking your hook into the stitch, and then yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2. And then you're going to half double crochet into the same stitch. So repeat those steps except for pulling through all 3 loops. And then we are going to make a slip stitch in the next stitch. So that is your first ruffle, and I think it looks so cute so far. Oh, I forgot to mention we're going to be making this in the white color of yarn. So repeat that steps all over again. We are going to chain 2, double crochet into the next stitch, and then half double crochet to the same stitch. And then going to the next stitch, we are going to make a slip stitch and then chain 2, repeat those steps all over again until you're all done. And then he is going to look so cute. And then for this next part, we are going to be making the eyes, and also this is what he looks like once he's done. He looks so cute. So go ahead and start by threading your needle with the black thread of yarn. And then going into his body, pretty much the row right above the puffs. So as you can see, pretty much right there, we're going to pull the yarn up. And then to make the upright eyes, to make him look like he's awake, we are going to go into the round above that. And then go down back into him to make that, and then we're going to go up one more time and then skip over about 2 stitches, and we are going to do the same thing. So his eyes are little, and I really love the way that these look. These are one of my favorites. And then again, just go the round below, and then whenever you do it this time, we are going to go back into the stitch that we pulled the yarn through, so right there, and then we are going to go ahead and tie them together to make sure that they're nice and secure, and then you can cut and hide the tails. And then this is the way he looks. If you like these eyes, then you can go ahead and finish them off. But if you don't, then we can do these like closed eyes, which makes him look like he's asleep. So go ahead and do that same thing as before, pulling the tail, and then make sure that it's nice and secure. And then we are going to go kind of like at a slant to do this, and then you're going to do it on the same way on the other side. And then if you like it this way, then you can again just cut and hide the tails. Make sure that you tie them first though. Also guys, I'm so sorry if I'm not explaining the embroidery parts super well. It's just very hard for me to explain like how to embroider them and stuff, so I'm so sorry about that. And then we are going to be making the blush. So go ahead and thread your yarn needle with the pink yarn this time. And then also guys, I realized that I'm not narrating this very well, so I'm not really going to do too much work on this for narrating it, just because I don't sound very good, or I'm not explaining it very well. So you're just going to pretty much copy what I'm doing, and I hope that I'm showcasing it pretty well. If this is too hard, then of course you don't have to make the eyes in the blush. I just thought it was cute, so I added this into the tutorial. So once you're done making the blush, then you're just going to tie and then cut the yarn and then hide the tails. And then for this last part, we are going to be making the keychain part. If you guys don't have keychains, you're going to start with a slip knot and then take your jellyfish and go through the top of his head. This is kind of brutal, but that's just how it goes. And then you're going to pull up your loop, and then we're going to chain 35 or just until your desired length. So we are going to chain and then make sure that it is the perfect length. So what I do is I kind of fold it over and then I try to stuff his body through it, and if it fits well, then that's where I stop. But if it doesn't, then I might chain a couple of bit of more just to make sure that it really fits until my perfect length. And then once you're done chaining, you're going to slip stitch and then chain one. Make sure you pull that chain nice and big, and then you're going to fasten off. And then you can hide the tail ends. And then that's pretty much it, honestly guys. That's the end of the tutorial. And then guys, for my last thing, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I hope that you had so much fun making this jellyfish like I did. If you want to see more tutorials like this, then make sure you like and subscribe, come back to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!